Okay, so for this next video, what we're going to do is have a look at Photoshop and figure out some ways that we can start manipulating some of these texture files. Okay, all I've done here is created a new Photoshop file and then added in all the layers we've got. So one by one, we've got the cull file that we were dealing with recently. We've also got the black and white version, which obviously is again pink and blue. And then we've also got the normal file and the RSM. So first things first, what I want to do is hit Control T and then bring it up to the correct size, which is 1024 by 1024, and then do the same with the RSM. Great. So now we've got all those 4 files, and then what we can begin to do is, if need be, start playing around with the opacity. So if we, for example, change the opacity of the color file down to 50%, you can see the textures from the normal file starting to come through. So it gives you an idea of what section is what. So as we said before, you can see that you've got like the upper part and the midsole. You've then got some of the tags here, the studs, and then the laces down the side. When you apply the cull file over it, you can see that there are also some additional things like some of these chevrons that go down the back tab, and then also some of the textures that are on the laces, and so on and so forth. In any Cleat, whenever I'm working on them, unless it's an incredibly basic color change, ideally what I want to be doing is separating all the different sections. And this can be quite tedious and time consuming, but I think it's a really worthwhile thing to do, because then it makes it a lot easier every time you want to make a new design for that particular Cleat. Now, there are a couple of ways you could do it. First way is you could create a new layer and then select color range, and then let's just say, for example, we wanted the white. I know you can't see the screen, but essentially it asks you for a color range, and then you can use an eyedropper tool to find all the bits of white, and then click OK, and then it will highlight various parts of white there. Okay, so if we were just to focus on the inner and outer Nike swoosh there. Okay, so if we go back into the cull file and then Control C, Control V, we could delete this layer 1 and get rid of cull 2, and then we've got all the white parts that we wanted to separate. If we didn't want these studs, we can just highlight around them with the lasso tool and then delete. And then we've got these 2 swooshes there. We can also hit FX and do a color overlay and make them whatever color we like. So let's just have that as black. And then when we go back into the cull file, the white has been replaced with the black color. Coincidentally, if for whatever reason you wanted to keep to some of the colors that we're using, so for example, you wanted these swoosh ticks to be black, you would need to use this blue color. So again, what we can do is use the eyedropper tool, highlight the blue, so that's in our selectable color, go into color overlay again, and then you can use the eyedropper tool and then change the color that way. And so that's a basic way of changing it. And then I'd relabel this layer as swoosh colors if you chose. Now, what I would do from then is I would look to separate all these colors out using the magic wand tool. So, for example, if we wanted to look at the back tab, we can change the tolerance level as well. That's really helpful if you want it to be really, really specific and detailed. So if you take the tolerance down all the way to 5 and try and highlight it, you only get a real subsection of the green, which is not what we want. This will go up to, I believe, 255, which again doesn't give us what we want. So you want somewhere in the middle, and you've got to play around with it to get the desired outcome. So once you have that section there, you can go Control-C, Control-V, and then you've got your back tab separated out. And then, as I said before, let's say for one reason or another, you wanted to make that black, FX, color overlay, and then change it to the blue color, and then you've got it where you want it, right? You can go as detailed as you want for this kind of thing. I tend to separate as much as I possibly can. So I'm going to want the sole plate, the mold that goes around it, the individual studs. So if you wanted to, you would have to highlight all of these. And say this one as well, this one as well, this one as well. And then making sure you're in the col file, again, Control-C, Control-V, and then you've separated like the studs out there. And then if you wanted to, again, change all the colors. It's great when you make little mistakes like this. So I can see that I've missed a chunk of that stud as well. So I need to come back in here, highlight that, and then separate that one as well. And then what you can do is using the Shift button, highlight these two layers, right click, and then rasterize layer style. Oh, sorry, merge layers first. And then you can go color overlay, and then the whole thing's blue. And then we can start to change things with a bit more detail. So again, you've got the laces there. Separate the laces. And let's change it up a bit. Let's say we wanted the laces to be white, so we need that pink color. There you go. And that's how you change it. So that's essentially like a really basic way of, so I would say, breaking down the layers of each cleat that you're using. And then what we'll be doing is applying it. So with all these different colors that we've changed it to, we can hit Control-S, and we can save this to our computer, whichever drive you want. And you can either save it as a Photoshop file, so a .psd file, and then use that in Blender, or you can save it as a PNG file. I'll just call this use this. And then when we go back into Blender, we can essentially like import that file to see the changes that we've made. And I will show you that in the next video.